welcome back, friends. This is the Ridgeview Pod. My name is Michael Yates, where we try to cover everything hope, healing, and recovery related. We're always pleased that you've chosen to spend some time with us. If you would, please subscribe and ring the bell so that you get notification of our latest episode. I'm really pleased today to have with me the Legal Aid Society. So I have Nick Arms and Alex Cramer. Though we're recording this before the Tennessee-Alabama game, one would think we might want to do a little pregame, break down the game, do some analysis about how Tennessee can actually pull this thing off. But we'll save predictions for the very end, maybe. Though you're pretty close to wearing the right tie there, Nick. I mean, a little more bright orange, and you'd be in the groove.
You teed out.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
All right. Well, let's hope the town of Knoxville is still in existence after this weekend. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming in. We've had representation from Legal Aid Society on previously. I think it was during April, maybe tax-related stuff. Big surprise there. But you guys have an event coming up. And I guess before we jump into that, give our viewers just an overview of what is the Legal Aid Society and what is its purpose to the community.
Sure. So Legal Aid Society, to put it, I think, in as little words as possible, is a nonprofit law firm. We help with civil legal issues for low-income individuals and vulnerable people within our community's population.
Is it a free service?
It is. So if you qualify for our services, you don't pay for our legal representation. So we offer free legal services to our clients.
And how would people access it?
There's several ways. We have several partnerships within Anderson County, within the community. Of course, if anybody wants information about legal aid or is curious whether they would qualify or wants to know a little bit more about what they do or what we do, they can always call our office.
Now, forgive me for asking this, probably an elementary question, but is Legal Aid Society, is it Tennessee Legal Aid Society or is it regional? How is it structured?
Legal Aid Society is regional, but each county in Tennessee has an agency that serves low-income individuals and vulnerable people within the population. Legal Aid Society covers 48 counties within Tennessee. You can think of it as the middle counties is what we do. So our office, the Oak Ridge office, is somewhat of the outlier. We cover counties to the east.
Okay, so can you speak to what each of your disciplines are? So not everyone is doing the same thing, correct?
That's absolutely right. And you mentioned someone was on here to talk about tax. That was Mary Gillum. She's a tax attorney. I'm a lawyer with the firm too. I handle domestic violence issues and housing cases. But each lawyer kind of does different areas of the law within our firm.
Excellent. All right. How about you, Alex?
I am actually an attorney with the City of Oak Ridge. I'm not with the Legal Aid Society. I'm also the president of the Anderson County Bar Association, which is how I'm involved in this event.
Okay, awesome, wonderful. Well, very good. So let's dive into this particular event. So I think it was maybe 2 months ago, we were both at the Anderson CCR, Coordinated Community Response Meeting. That's and right. You handed out some information regarding this free expungement clinic and voter registration. So what is this about?
Well, it's a clinic. It's a legal clinic. It's set for October the 29th, which is next weekend here in Oak Ridge from 9 to about 11:30. Alex is with the city. I'm with Legal Aid Society. The clinic is sponsored by the Anderson County Bar Association, the Anderson County Oak Ridge NAACP, the League of Women Voters, and the Public Defender's Office. What we'll be doing at that clinic, though, is we will be preparing court orders to remove eligible criminal charges from someone's public record.
So eligible, what is eligible? Who's eligible for that?
Well, at the clinic, we are doing a specific type of an order that involves dismissed criminal charges. There's a big law that goes into that. In fact, if you were to print the law, it'd probably cover all of the table. Alex has got some notes on that. Alex, do you want to share a little bit more?
Yeah, so there's three kinds of expungements in Tennessee. Non-convictions, which is what we're going to handle and what we do. There's misdemeanor convictions and felony convictions. It's very confusing even for attorneys to wade through these sometimes. We are not going to handle any of the convictions at this clinic because there's a significant amount of paperwork and court appearances that are required to go into those. We will just be handling the non-convictions. So anything that would be considered a non-conviction is if someone was not arrested but not charged, if the prosecutor's office declined to prosecute, or if they're found not guilty, or pretrial or judicial diversion are all considered non-convictions, and those can be expunged without limit.
Okay. Is there a cost involved in going through this process?
Our clinic is free. There's no cost involved. However, if some of those non-convictions resulted in court costs, fines, or fees, or probation or community corrections, that kind of thing, if there are conditions associated with that, those have to be satisfied before we can expunge.
So what's the benefit in actually getting something expunged from a record when there was not a conviction?
It will appear on a background check. And so if someone has a history of that, or if they're applying for jobs that run background checks, those things can appear, and they can be denied employment on that basis as for having that history.
Okay, so that's the critical piece. When people do background checks, it may still come up as an alert of some type. Okay.
One good thing to note there too, Michael, is it will also show up when you apply for public housing. Sometimes these public record searches that agencies use, it may not show that a charge was dismissed, which means ultimately you didn't do it. It may just show the charge and perhaps maybe even the date. So what an expungement does, and why it's important that we do these, even for dismissed charges, is that order removes any record of that from a public database. So if you have a dismissed charge, it's expunged. What would happen would be someone would run your public record through a public record search. That charge wouldn't show up.
Erased.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And in fact, I maybe not in Anderson County, but in other counties, if you even so much as call a clerk's office and ask for something, knowing that it should be there, if it's been expunged, the clerk's not even going to be able to pull it up to see it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you and I were just in, a meeting a month, 2 months ago where housing was a centerpiece of the discussion. I think we even had panelists talking about the need for housing in Anderson County. It came up in the community health needs assessment as the number one health issue.
Absolutely.
And so the importance of housing and how background searches can be a huge hindrance for people getting housing. I can see the real benefit there. Okay, so if I'm listening to this and I think, I have a concern, I don't know if what my record even looks like or what might be on there. Could I come to this just to find out? What does my background check show?
Absolutely. So we're doing this clinic on the 29th. We want to make access to those services very easy. So there's no pre-registration. You don't have to call anyone beforehand. Just show up at the clinic on the 29th and we will do the work to see if you have eligible charges and to see if we can remove them. And if not, maybe what you need to do to take the steps to get those removed.
Fantastic. So I see it says what to bring. Please bring a photo ID and any court-related documents if you've got them. So we'll put this documentation in the link so you can download it, print it if you need to. Is there anything else that folks need to know? When you've done this in the past, about how many people show up, and can they be from other counties, or is it just Anderson County?
Alex, you mention that?
So we've had as many as 100 people show up before. As few as 20 or 30 have come one year. We will only be expunging. We can only expunge Anderson County charges. Now, that doesn't mean the individual has to live or be from Anderson County, just that the charges have to be from the Anderson County's prosecutor's office.
Okay, good point of clarification.
But anybody can attend if they've got those Anderson County charges. The other thing I wanted to throw out, if October 29th, if someone can't make that date, we will be doing this again in the spring.
Oh, okay.
We do it twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. And I think we don't have a date yet. And I think that we're going to try to do it more towards the northern side of the county too. So for people who are up in, north of Clinton and the Rocky Top area, I think that's the goal.
Okay. All right. Super. Well, good to know. Well, this is very helpful. I know, we wanted to focus on the Expungement Clinic and voter registration. I guess that's also is going to be available for folks at that time. Okay, that's great. The Family Law Clinic, I know that's coming up as well in November, right?
That's right, Michael. So the Family Law Clinic is a clinic that's hosted by Legal Aid Society, so our law firm, the Anderson County Family Justice Center, and the YWCA. It's going to be at the YWCA in Oak Ridge on, you have the flyer there, on November the 5th from, and let me look at the flyer too.
9 to noon?
Yeah, from 9 to noon.
Okay.
This clinic, the Family Law Clinic, is going to be a little different than the Expungement Clinic. The Family Law Clinic is for legal advice. So we are going to have private practice attorneys who have offered their time for free on Saturday to be there to advise anyone who shows up on whatever type of legal issue they have dealing with family law.
Okay. All right. Very good. Are you guys surprised by, or do you see common denominators in the folks that are experiencing a lot of judicial involvement? I guess I'm thinking back now to the Expungement Clinic. I guess as you know, a lot of the folks with whom we work and we serve, we have criminal justice liaisons. We are involved in the court system. We have a reentry program that helps people who are impacted by mental health issues and substance use disorder conditions try to get reintegrated back into the community. And I don't know, Alex, when you tossed out those numbers, I'm not sure what I was thinking, how many would present for an expungement clinic, but man, part of me is like, wow, 100 could actually show up. To me, that seems like a lot of people that have criminal court activity or charges. I don't know. I'm just trying to tease out if there are, some common denominators. Are a lot of them drug related, or a lot of them, are there some common denominators in any of these things?
I think it's easy for people to get into a spiral. And I think that's the common denominator I see is you might have someone with a mental health issue or a family situation that's a disruptive or hard family situation. And then they make a bad mistake and experiment with drugs, and then they get an arrest charge. So now they've got a mental health issue, and now they've got a criminal charge, and now they kind of get into a cycle of going back in there. And I think that can trap people very easily. And I think breaking that cycle is, in a small way, something we can maybe help to help end that.
Yeah. I mean, one of the common themes that keeps coming up in these recordings that we do is, One of the key contributors to boosting resilience for individuals or families, for transcending some of the difficulties that they experience, is the basic importance of social connectedness, positive social connectedness. And that, I think to your point about spiraling into worse circumstances, it's a byproduct of isolation. It's a byproduct of not having some of those social contributors that can help guide people through tough times and hard times. So I think we're going to focus a future discussion around the importance of that.
Michael, let me add two things to what Alex just explained too. So Alex and I think we've actively participated at the Expungement Clinic maybe for the last 3 or 4 years. One pattern that we have seen, particularly in Anderson County, is Alex mentioned attendance. Maybe 100 people will show up. Maybe 20 people will show up. That doesn't mean that each person that shows up gets one court order. So for each eligible charge, that is a court order for that to remove that charge, for that expungement. So one example I do like to share, of course, we're lawyers, so I can't give you any concrete details, but one example I like to share is we had a clinic at a church a couple years ago in Clinton. One lawyer and I, we helped one person for about the entire time of the clinic. Just one person, so one attendee, but I think that other lawyer and I maybe did 40 orders, 40 court orders for that one person to remove all of those criminal charges that were dismissed, which ultimately in a legal perspective means the state found he didn't do those things and couldn't prosecute him. We weren't able to remove all of his criminal charges, but certainly he told us, when this is done, my criminal record, so when people look at me, it's no longer going to be 3 pages, it's going to be 1 page. So I'm in much, much, much better position now to get the job that I need, or to get the job that I want.
Wow.
One good thing, too, about Anderson County that we've seen with these clinics is particularly employees of the plant, so federal contractors.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some people come into the clinic, they've applied for these jobs, and their employers perhaps say, look, we ran your background check, and we see that this is on there from 10 years ago. We just can't give you a clearance if that's on there. Do something to get it taken off, and perhaps we'll reevaluate you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's much, 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 much greater benefit to an expungement, particularly when you come to the clinic, because we're going to have access to those kinds of things to see, what all we can take off.
Well, this may be more of like too much of legal acumen, but why, if a charge is dismissed, why is it not automatically expunged? Like, why does it not disappear? And
that's what the legislator is trying to do with this statute. Alex, do you want to talk to Michael a little bit about that law?
I actually don't know the answer to your question of why that isn't automatically done. But the legislature in the last couple of years, every year, has expanded the list of things, of convictions that are eligible to be expunged, and they are making it easier to get non-convictions expunged. That is what they're working incrementally towards.
Okay. I didn't realize that. All right.
And I think your comment's on the right track. Eventually, that will be the process. In Tennessee right now, it's not. That law that Alex is talking about, it orders almost that a judge who dismisses a criminal charge has to tell the defendant about an expungement. But it doesn't mandate that an order be entered at that time, or it doesn't mandate who has to complete that order. A lot of what we see at the clinic is that section of the law may be pretty new, so we may not see a lot of expungement orders for new criminal charges. Sometimes what we end up doing at the clinic is we're looking at charges that have been dismissed from 10 or 15 years ago when this law didn't exist or that section of the law wasn't in place.
Okay.
So no one knew to do that at that time.
Okay. So it does vary state to state then. I mean, Tennessee may be doing this, but other states may already have processes in place where it's automatically erased.
Absolutely, it does. Tennessee has its own expungement law, and as Alex has pointed out, it's changing almost every session.
Okay. Well, as I say, every time I continue to learn something, each and every time I do one of these. So thank you. This is great information. We'll put both of these, as I said, both of these flyers in the links so that people can access them. Really appreciate you guys coming in. If you will allow me, we like to share or ask a few questions just to kind of let viewers know that it's not all business, and especially lawyers have a personal side too. So I say that with endearment, as my sister is a lawyer, Sarah. So I'll just alternate a couple of these. So Alex, what's your favorite family vacation?
Oh, I took the family down to Perdido Key in Florida last summer.
Wow.
To the beach.
So is the beach always sort of the preferred?
With the kids, yeah. The kids like to go to the beach, play in the sand, play in the water.
I'm with you. I'm a beach guy. However, my wife and I just returned from Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons. Oh my God. It was unreal. It was unreal. Nick, what are you currently watching on Netflix?
Right now, nothing.
Oh.
We just finished a couple Netflix shows, so we're taking a little break.
All right.
now.
What was one of the last sort of streaming things that you?
Well, you mentioned Lawyers of Business. What we watch on Netflix has nothing to do with that, so I don't want to say. Very good shows. I'm sure you've seen them, but I'd rather not say.
I got you. I'm currently in the process of Ozark.
We've seen that. Excellent show.
Ooh, yeah. My wife can't handle Ozark, so it's one of those. I watch it. She does something else. Yeah. So Alex, 2 most used apps on your phone.
Oh, probably Outlook and Safari.
Oh, all right.
I didn't even think of the Outlook app, but it is an app.
Yeah. Let me see here. Nick, if you could invite 3 guests, non-family, to a meal, anybody,
Oh boy,
who would they be?
Really put me on the spot there. Well, we talked about the weekend before we started. So if I could invite 3 guests, I think right now I would have Hendon Hooker, Bryce Young, and Josh Heupel.
All right.
Just to feel what they, what it feels like when they're all together.
You want that dinner before the game or after the game?
Depends on the game. Depends on this weekend, of course.
The outcome. Right. All right. So, greatest decade of music.
Oh, 80s.
Yes. I think that's mine as well. Give me a band or two that that's a favorite of yours.
Oh man, you put me on the spot. Can I pass?
We'll pass that to me.
All right. No, yeah, it's, I think that's mine as well. And then lastly, greatest movie of all time.
Casino.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we probably need to have a moment for Ray Liotta, right?
Yeah. That movie has been on television here lately, and I've forgotten how good it is.
Yeah.
It's an excellent movie.
Speaking of music, wow, that thing is full of some great Stones and yeah. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate you allowing me to ask those questions and for your time to come in. We're going to do our best to try to get the word out about both of these opportunities for the public. Certainly is a way to help elevate and promote a healthier overall community and give people an opportunity to pursue whatever dreams that they have vocationally or housing by getting some of these charges dismissed or expunged that have been dismissed. So thanks for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
And thank you guys for tuning in. Again, it's always an honor that you've chosen to spend some of your time with us. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take good care. Bye-bye.